Before we dive into today's incredible story, I want you to do something for me. In the comments below, let me know where you're watching from. I love connecting with viewers from all around the world, so drop your location in the comments right now. Now, let me tell you a story that will change how you see people forever. It's about an old man, a busy emergency room, and a phone call that left an entire hospital speechless. It was a cold Tuesday evening when the automatic doors of St. Mary's General Hospital slid open with a soft whoosh. The emergency room buzzed with its usual chaos, phones ringing, monitors beeping, and medical staff rushing between patients. In the middle of this controlled pandemonium, an elderly man shuffled through the entrance. He was thin, almost frail, wearing a faded jacket that had seen better days. His gray hair was unkempt, and his weathered hands trembled slightly as he approached the reception desk. To anyone watching, he looked like just another homeless man seeking shelter from the cold. "Excuse me," he said softly to the nurse behind the desk, his voice barely audible above the hospital noise. "I'm having chest pains and difficulty breathing." The nurse barely looked up from her computer screen. "Take a seat over there," she said dismissively, pointing to the crowded waiting area. "Someone will be with you when we can get to you." The old man nodded politely and found an empty plastic chair in the corner. He sat down slowly, wincing as he did, and pressed his hand against his chest. His breathing was labored, but he didn't complain. He simply waited. Minutes turned into an hour. Then 2 hours. The old man's condition visibly worsened. His face grew pale, and beads of sweat formed on his forehead despite the cool temperature. He watched as other patients, some with minor cuts, others with sprains, were called in before him. "Sir, are you all right?" a young medical student asked, noticing the old man's distress. Before the old man could answer, a senior nurse intervened. "Don't worry about him, Sarah. We have more important patients to attend to. He's probably just looking for a warm place to spend the night." The medical student hesitated but ultimately walked away, leaving the old man alone with his pain. As the 3rd hour approached, the old man's breathing became even more labored. He approached the desk again, this time struggling to stand upright. "Please," he whispered to a different nurse. "I think I'm having a heart attack." The nurse looked him up and down with barely concealed disgust. "Sir, there are more important patients ahead of you. Please return to your seat and wait your turn." Behind the desk, whispers began to circulate among the staff. "He doesn't look like he has insurance," one nurse murmured. "Probably another vagrant trying to get free medical care," another added. "We should call security if he keeps making a fuss," a third suggested. The old man heard every word, but he didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice or demand special treatment. He simply returned to his seat, his dignity intact despite the humiliation. By the 4th hour, the old man was slumped over in his chair, struggling to breathe. His lips had taken on a bluish tint, and his hands were shaking uncontrollably. It was then that he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small, worn notebook. With trembling fingers, he flipped through the pages until he found what he was looking for, a phone number written in faded ink. He pulled out an old flip phone and dialed with great difficulty. The phone rang twice before a familiar voice answered. "This is Robert," the old man said weakly. "I'm sorry to call, but I need help." There was a moment of silence on the other end, then an explosion of concern. "General Morrison? Where are you? What's wrong?" "I'm at St. Mary's Hospital," the old man replied. "I think I'm having a heart attack, but they won't treat me." "Stay right where you are, sir. Help is coming." The old man ended the call and leaned back in his chair, closing his eyes. Around him, the emergency room continued its frantic pace, completely unaware that everything was about to change. 15 minutes later, the hospital's main phone began ringing insistently. The head nurse answered with her usual professional tone. "St. Mary's General Hospital Emergency Department." "This is the President of the United States," came the voice on the other end. "You have a patient there, a man named Robert Morrison. I need to speak with your director immediately." The nurse's face went white. I'm sorry, could you repeat that?" "This is the President. Get me your director. Now." Within minutes, the hospital director was on the phone, his voice shaking. "Mr. President, how can we help you?" "You have a man in your emergency room. General Robert Morrison. He's a retired 4-star general and a personal friend of mine. He tells me he's been waiting for hours for treatment while having a heart attack. I want to know why." The director's face drained of color as he looked toward the waiting room. "Sir, I'll look into this immediately." "You do that. And director, I'm sending the Secret Service to ensure the general receives the care he deserves." As the director hung up the phone, the emergency room began to buzz with a different kind of energy. Word spread quickly through the staff that the president himself had called about the old man in the corner. 20 minutes later, 3 black SUVs pulled up to the hospital entrance. Secret Service agents in dark suits walked purposefully through the automatic doors, their eyes scanning the room until they found their target. The lead agent approached the old man, who was now barely conscious. "General Morrison, sir?" The old man opened his eyes weakly and nodded. "Sir, we're here to ensure you receive proper medical care. On behalf of the president, I apologize for the delay." The agent turned to the stunned medical staff. "This man is General Robert Morrison, a decorated war hero who served our country with distinction for over 30 years. He led covert missions that saved thousands of lives, including that of our current president." The same nurses who had dismissed him hours earlier now stood in shocked silence. The head nurse, her face red with embarrassment and shame, rushed forward. "General, please forgive us. We didn't know." The old man, General Morrison, looked at her with kind but tired eyes. "You didn't know because you didn't ask. You saw an old man in worn clothes and made assumptions." Within minutes, the general was rushed into the best treatment room in the hospital. The medical team worked quickly to stabilize him, and it was confirmed that he had indeed suffered a mild heart attack. The delay in treatment could have been fatal. As the general recovered, the hospital staff gathered around their director, many with tears in their eyes. They had learned that the man they had ignored had served his country with honor, leading dangerous missions behind enemy lines, earning the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star, and the Medal of Honor. The story of what happened at St. Mary's Hospital that night spread quickly. It became a powerful reminder that we should never judge someone by their appearance, their clothes, or their circumstances. Every person who walks through our doors, whether it's a hospital, a store, or anywhere else, deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. General Morrison recovered fully and returned to his quiet life. But the lesson he taught that night lived on in the hearts of everyone who heard his story. And that's where our story ends today. It's a powerful reminder that you never know who you're talking to or what battles they fought. The person you dismissed today might be the hero who fought for your freedom tomorrow. If this story touched your heart and made you think twice about how we treat others, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our inspiring stories. Give this video a thumbs up if it made you reflect on your own actions, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. Remember, kindness costs nothing, but it can mean everything to someone who needs it most. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next story.